So, listen to this wild story. This guy in a wheelchair was waiting in a handicap spot outside a building, all dressed up for a job interview, just sitting there, minding his business. Then out of nowhere, a car comes reversing straight at him, fast. "Hey, stop!" he shouted, trying to wheel himself out of the way as quick as he could. The car slammed to a stop just inches from him. This woman steps out of the car, still on her phone acting like nothing happened. He said, "Hey lady, you almost ran me over." She didn't even blink. She just flipped her hair and said, "Why are you yelling, fool? Do I look like I care?" The guy pointed to the sign. "You're literally parked in a handicap space. Can you not see the sign?" She rolled her eyes and said, "And so? What are you gonna do about it, Wheels?" Just then, a female police officer walked over. "What's going on here?" she asked, clearly sensing the tension. The woman scoffed again, like it was no big deal. The guy turned to the officer and said, "She almost hit me and parked here in a handicap space." The officer faced the woman and said calmly, "Ma'am, you know you can't park here unless you have a valid disability placard." But the woman snapped, "Who are you to tell me where I can or can't park?" While they argued, the guy pulled out his phone and started recording the whole thing. Rather than apologize, she was rude to the officer and shouted, "I've got an interview! Let me go!" And then she ripped the officer's badge from her vest. The officer was stunned. Then, as she moved to restrain her, another cop, a guy, showed up. The woman changed her whole tone. She ran to him, all flirty, and went, "Oh, officer, thank God. She's attacking me for no reason." The female cop tried to explain everything, staying calm, laying out the facts. But the guy shrugged and said, "Come on, who cares where she parked? Let it go." And just like that, the woman wrapped her arms around him and said, "Thanks, handsome." Later, the female officer caught up with the guy in the wheelchair. "Let me help you get to your interview," she said, gently taking his handlebar. He looked at her and said, "You're a good cop. Thank you for actually caring." Soon, they got to the interview. And guess who's already there? Yep, the woman and the male officer. "Good day, sir," the woman said, grinning at the boss. "I'm here for the interview." The boss looked at her, unimpressed. "What took you so long?" She was about to lie, blaming the guy in the wheelchair, when he rolled in right behind her, with the female officer by his side. "Afternoon, sir," the officer said. "There's something you need to see." The guy held up his phone and added, "Trust me, you'll want to watch this before we start." They played the video, every second of it, the near hit, the insults, the badge ripping, the whole thing. The boss's face went from confused to shocked to furious. He turned to the woman. "You do realize everything you did was illegal, right? The parking, the behavior, the assault?" Then he faced the male officer. "And you just let it slide because she batted her eyelashes?" Without another word, he yanked the officer's badge off. "I'm done. Both of you, out now." They tried to explain, but it was too late. Then the boss turned to the guy in the wheelchair. "I'm sorry you had to deal with that," he said, "but I'm glad you spoke up." He smiled and added, "Now let's talk about this job. If you love when justice is served, subscribe."